Hello, everyone, and welcome into another episode of the Fastball Sports Network WWE podcast. And today we have a lot on the table. I feel like I start every episode saying we have a lot to talk about today, but it's true. We have a lot to talk about. Happy late Thanksgiving to all of our friends watching from the States. And if you're not, then happy Friday, because it is Friday when we're recording, and maybe Saturday when this will be up. I don't know. Have a happy day, whenever the day that you're watching this is.
That was so positive. That was so positive and nice.
Yeah,
No, you're right. A lot goes on in professional wrestling. We only record usually like once a week, so there's always a lot to talk about. It's good.
Yeah, so maybe we should just change the name to the "A Lot to Talk About" WWE podcast, but we can discuss that off air.
It's a little wordy.
It is a little wordy. All right, so let's start with the mistake that I made last week, and that was that I thought that they were doing Takeover War Games the Saturday before Survivor Series, like it's always been. It has not been the case. You know what that means, Mark? I need to actually tune into NXT.
Yeah, no. When you said it, I thought you were wrong, but again, I don't know enough about NXT to like call anyone out on anything. So I was kind of like, oh, he probably knows more than I do. I'll just let that slide. Turned out it was not to be. It's next Sunday. I think it's
a week from Sunday.
Yeah.
So we will actually have time to actually digest and talk about that next week. We'll see the take home show. Mark doesn't want to talk about NXT, but
no, it's SmackDown. It's fine. Continue.
It is 9:25 Eastern time right now, recording, which means SmackDown is finishing up in the corner of our eyes, which we will be discussing by the end of this. So hopefully Mark can multitask and I can multitask. But let's get
Murphy Mysterio stuff. But continue.
Let's get right into Survivor Series, because that was a really nice pay-per-view. I thought just a really, really solid pay-per-view. Nothing's too spectacular happened. There were some weird finishes we're going to talk about, but I thought overall, really, really good pay-per-view. I'd say, like, if I'm giving it a rating out of 10, I'd give it 7.5 to an 8. I don't know. What do you think?
Okay, no, that's fair. The problem for me is I didn't like either of the 5-on-5 matches, and that's why I watch. Like, the singles matches were great. Like, Roman and Drew were one of the best matches we've seen in quite some time. Obviously, Sasha and Asuka is always great.
Bobby and Sammy was pretty entertaining, albeit we knew who was going to win, but they did a good job.
Yeah, New Day Street Profits was great.
Excellent, yep.
But when I feel like I wait once a year for the 5-on-5 matches, and when one's a sweep and one's a Lana BS Soul Survivor, it's like it's a bad taste in my mouth. I don't like it.
Yeah, I can agree with what you're saying. Those 5-on-5 matches were a disappointment. Were the disappointment of the pay-per-view, because, like you said, pretty much everything else was a hit. You know, they pretty much hit everywhere else. So let's just get into it. I want to start where the end of the night took place, though. Let's start with The Undertaker. It looks like, and I will not say it with 100% certainty until he's dead. Really, The Undertaker's hung it up. Right?
It would be it would be wrong. It'd be wrong on him, wrong on Vince, wrong on everyone if he came back at this point. If they did that whole thing and he came back, it would leave a really bad taste in my mouth. I'm sure a lot of other people as well. I thought it was handled pretty well, all things considered. It's really hard with no fans, and obviously, like, I'm sure they tried to get like the high profile names that they brought in. I'm sure some of them are like kind of close friends to Undertaker, like the Godwins, like those type of people. Like, I'm sure he requested them. I thought a lot of people were upset about it online, said like it was like a little like half-assed and like not a great effort. I thought it was fine.
Listen, to me, it seemed a little strange. He came out and he only said about like a paragraph worth of lines. I did love the video tribute though with the Metallica song. I felt like that was a really fitting way they play that video. He says, you know, his final words were, "Now it's time for me to let the Undertaker rest in peace." So powerful end to a amazing career. And so I guess my question to you is, does Undertaker set the standard for every wrestler that has come before him and that will exit after him in terms of, I guess, maybe being a company guy?
No, yeah, he's definitely on the short list of guys. When everything you hear, everything you see, to have a character like his and for like he recreated it so many times and for it to never get stale is like really astonishing. Obviously, the American Badass Taker, like He's like three different like variations of the character, but he always stayed true to what the character was. And what was it, 30 years? That's
30
absolutely
years.
insane.
Yeah.
That's absolutely crazy.
Actually, the crazy part is it was 30 years to the day. When they finished that up. It was November 22nd, I believe, 1982 to 1980 to 1990. Geez, oh my God. Math is not my strong suit. I like wrestling, not math. 1990 to 2020. So to the day.
I'm
30
sure
years.
that kind of like hot rocketed too, where I feel like if it wasn't a 30-year thing, they probably would have tried to wait until there were fans. But like maybe Vince just saw the opportunity and Undertaker was into it and they just pulled the trigger.
So now my hope for him is that he can be inducted into the Hall of Fame in front of thousands of screaming fans, because the thank you taker chants were nice, but we know that they were coming from, a computer, not real people. So they're gonna have one more chance to really put him in front of the WWE universe. If they're not confident that WrestleMania is going to be in front of a live audience this year, then just wait until next year.
Yeah,
We
sure.
think we pretty much think that Corona will be subsided or almost gone by the time WrestleMania rolls around. Not this year, but next year, or I should say, not 2021, but 2022. So, you don't have to retire him in November, induct him in January. I think they could just wait a year on that, let it sit,
Definitely.
and then people will be really excited to see it in person. And
I
then he'll
agree.
get the Hall of Fame ceremony in person too, which is a nice thing that they do on the Saturdays. And he'll have someone induct him, and it'll be a whole good thing.
We haven't seen the last of him either. Like he'll come back and like hit a choke slam or a tombstone here and there, I feel like, but he's not gonna wrestle anymore.
I could see that, for sure. All right, so let's move on to the action of the night. And it started off with The Miz winning the Battle Royal to get the first win for Team Raw. I don't even know if they didn't have a ticker on the side. I don't know if
They didn't keep track.
Raw did win Survivor Series 4-3. This match was just to keep The Miz relevant, just to keep him, on top.
He doesn't need to, why do you win this match? Like he doesn't need to win this match. He has the briefcase.
I mean, he's got the briefcase, so they just want to show that, like, I guess, like, he won it in his typical heel fashion by like not being out of the ring and then coming back and throwing the person who's celebrating over. So I guess just to say,
it's like one of these things. Like, I didn't watch the match, so I'm not gonna like critique it, but give someone else the rub. Like the Miz doesn't need to win that match.
I could see it was a large battle royal, so definitely somebody else could have won. But all in all, I don't really have much to say about it. Moving on, the first match of the night was the first stinker of the night, and that was the Raw men beating the SmackDown men in a sweep in which nobody from SmackDown looked good besides Jey Uso for a minute, and Otis lifted up Keith Lee.
Well, Otis had a decent showing.
Otis and Jey Uso both put on like a competitive, Kevin Owens stunned 16 people and then died right after. So I don't know. I mean, go ahead. You could talk about it first.
Oh, thank you for that. Thank you for letting me speak first on it. It's just it doesn't make any sense storytelling wise, and it's so problematic where they had the Raw team set like right away, right after the last pay-per-view. They didn't have the SmackDown team set till Friday. Mm-hmm. Same with the girls. Like there's just so much more thought planned out for Raw right now, where all the storylines for Survivor Series were a part of Raw. Where I'm just kind of like, what's the point? Like why do we do it like this? It was so just like unprepared, and all this time we're saying like, why is Daniel Bryan on this team? Why is blah 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 on this team? Because they got squashed. Because they got swept. They didn't want these guys to take losses. Like, all right, we'll throw in Otis as the last surprise guy that no one cares about, and they put in Seth just to advertise it to make you think SmackDown has a chance. He gives himself up immediately. It's just, I don't know. It's just, you shouldn't do that at Survivor Series. Like the thing is, it should mean something, but it doesn't, because they'll talk about Survivor Series this week, like Raw and SmackDown, then they'll never mention it again, like as part of like booking. Like it'll just totally, it won't be like Raw has the bragging rights now. They'll forget it ever happened. Like I hate that. We need continuity.
I can agree with what you're saying. I wish that there was some type of connection to this in later storylines where
A
Raw actually
title
has
match, an
bragging rights.
incentive, something like something to
Something,
care.
yeah. Um, I agree with everything you said. I don't really see the point in sweeping. It just makes all of SmackDown competitors look weak. The only person that looked good from SmackDown in this men's team was Roman Reigns because it means he does not have any real challengers, right? Like
Yeah.
that's all it means.
And like the Seth thing where it was like it was a little shock value. Like I guess that's his gimmick and everything, but he goes down, they lose all credibility. It pans over to Jey Uso, Otis, Corbin, and Kevin Owens like in a huddle. It's like they have no chance. Like you look at these four guys, no prayer whatsoever.
It's true. They could have thrown Lars Sullivan in instead of Corbin. They could have thrown DB in instead of Otis or
DB, Biggie, Chad
yeah.
Gable, like so many guys they could have.
There are a lot of guys that could have had it, and like I still don't know what the plan for Otis is. I every week I watch and I'm like, are they going to use him? Are they going to not? And they teeter on the edge every time.
It
He
seems like
hasn't.
they're trying to make him matter again, but like
He body slams Keith Lee and then he gets eliminated right away. Like, well, does he matter or does he not matter? He has the money in the bank, then he doesn't have the money in the bank. Like they have to decide: is this guy going to matter or is he not going to matter? And if he's not going to matter, then you got to stop wasting time. But will say one good thing that came out of the men's Survivor Series team is it looks like the stuff that's happening on SmackDown looks like it's going to get really, really good, which we will talk about when we get to SmackDown a little later in the show. But it does look like there are some good storylines being built off of this embarrassing loss for Team SmackDown. But let's move on. Let's go to, I think, if it wasn't for Roman and Drew, this would have been match of the night, and it was the New Day versus the Profits. This was phenomenal, right? Like this was everything we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it was really, really good.
And the Street Profits proved, I think, that they belong as a top tag team in the company. To this point, they hadn't really been booked against top like tag teams, and there's not really a lot of top tag teams.
There are no tag teams. That's the problem.
Yeah, but now WWE has done a good job with them establishing them. Let's hope they keep them together. I don't see a reason that they would break up for at least a really long time. They're fun. They are funny. They're very, very good wrestlers, both of them. I think Dawkins was actually the star of this whole match. Some of the stuff that he was doing in this match. He's a big guy, but he moves around really well. He actually reminds me a lot of Big E.
Yeah, for sure.
In the way E runs around. So yeah, I mean, I loved everything about this match, and I think they got the ending right.
Yeah, no, it was fun. Montez Ford pulled out Trouble in Paradise, which was cool, like a little nice thing. I think he was right as well. I picked the New Day to win in the predictions, but I think that they made the right decision giving it to the Street Profits. I feel like it definitely legitimized them, and now kind of just built up on like what they were already doing. And now it's like, all right, they're legit. They just beat the New Day. I think I mentioned it to you. The New Day is really missing Big E. Like having the two guys, the two small, speedy guys, and not like the big power. It doesn't feel right.
It worked well with Kofi being the guy off solo when he was doing his WWE Championship run, and Woods and E having the tag team titles. I agree. Although I still think that they're still formidable. I get what you're saying. It feels like something's missing.
Yeah, I mean, like when you go for like the hot tag, you're tagging Xavier Woods, but like he's great, but like he's a little guy who's like it doesn't feel right.
Yeah. I agree with what you're saying. I don't know how long that they plan on them being apart, but you got to think it's at least a year, So it's gonna be a year. They're gonna try it out. Maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't. Maybe Woods will get sent and Kofi will stay on Raw. Now that they've opened this Pandora's box of possibilities what they could do with the New Day. So
now, Frank, do you think they have a legitimate plan right now for Big E? Do you think they have any idea what they want to do with Big E right now? While he's doing all these backstage segments, are they waiting for something? Like, what is the plan?
Now I know that they said that they kept him out of Survivor Series on purpose. Him and Lars Sullivan were kept down on purpose. So I think that maybe they don't have like a next guy in line to face Big E, but I think that the plan is there. Like I think that there's a roadmap here. I just don't know if they're going to actually follow it.
Is it Sami Zayn? Is it the Intercontinental Championship? Is that Big E's next?
Maybe it's Roman some point down the line. Not next, as we're seeing on SmackDown. It looks like he did a segment with Apollo Crews, but I didn't have the volume on. I'm sorry, just Apollo. so that it could be him. I don't know what's going on there. But it's just gonna unfortunately be one of those things where they have to wait and see. If I had gun to my head, I'm gonna say yes, they do have some type of a plan for Big E. Like, he's too big of a deal at this point to not have a plan for. But listen, we've seen people go by the wayside before. So
You can't break up the New Day for fun. Like, you got to have a legitimate plan in place, like that
right.
you truly believe is going to work. But I'm not
It was
holding my breath.
it was just a really weird time for this brand split because
That too.
Survivor Series was right after. So we're gonna see in the next 2 months in the lead up to the Royal Rumble, which is our next big pay-per-view. Not the next pay-per-view. I believe the next one is TLC. But then the one after that is the Rumble. We're gonna see in the lead up to the Royal Rumble what is the plan for Big E, you know? Guys like Lars Sullivan, guys like Big E, Ricochet, Retribution, I almost forgot their name. We're gonna see if there's an actual plan for them now. Like now we're in that time where we're gonna see all those guys. So it'll be interesting. Next match that happened at Survivor Series, Bobby Lashley beat Sami Zayn in what was surprisingly entertaining.
You thought so?
Listen, I think that in a game where we were like, I'm sorry, in a match where we were like, okay, Bobby's definitely going to win. Like, the only way Sami wins is if they absolutely need it to, like, tip the balance in favor of SmackDown. And they didn't even care about that. So, yeah, I think they gave Sami a good job of putting up a fight. And they even made the finish not clean to, like, protect Sami, too, which was kind of crazy.
I liked the little tripping spot where he, like, accidentally tripped over MVP at the end. But besides that, it was kind of just a whole lot of, like, running around. Like, I don't know, the Hurt Business was getting involved. It's whatever. I've seen that
Right.
so many times.
Now they're clearly running with this with Sami's gimmick, so it's gonna be interesting to see how long he keeps the Intercontinental Championship with this kind of like gimmick. Today, he beat Daniel Bryan with a 10 count where he ran into the back and then ran into the ring right before the match ended. And then we cut to the back and we see that it was actually Jey Uso beating up Daniel Bryan. I don't know why Jey Uso was beating up Daniel Bryan, but we will see. That match is actually about to kick off right now. Jey Uso versus Kevin Owens.
How about Kevin Owens just wins and matters again? How about that?
I could see Kevin Owens winning this match.
He probably should. I can see Roman Reigns coming out here and Jey Uso.
Well, we'll get into that more with SmackDown. We'll actually wait for the match to end before we start commenting on
it.
it.
The main event? Yeah, this is the main event.
Yeah, we will keep our eyes on it as it's happening. But let's move on to the Women's Championship match, which was Asuka versus Sasha. And this match, again, really great. They kind of protected Asuka, which I figured they would. I think I had Asuka winning this match.
So did I.
But listen, Sasha needed it more than Asuka, no question.
Again, yep,
I'm not mad at the result at all.
Again, we both had Asuka winning. I thought it was going to be like a Carmella distraction or something. It was relatively clean. There was a roll up, but it was still clean, and Sasha needed it more. So good decision again.
Yeah. There's, like I said, there's not really a lot to say about it. Good match, good decision, good finish. Yeah, good, really well done. And then 2 more matches left from Survivor Series. We've got the Survivor Series Classic women's team matches where the Raw women beat the SmackDown women. One good thing that came out of this match, and I will say it, is that Bianca Belair is clearly like a star in the making. Like, they talk about her.
You know what really could have made her a star?
If she got back into that 10 count.
If she was the sole survivor and not Lana. But yeah, no, she's amazing.
But they call her the EST, and like she might actually be the EST. Like, she might actually be the best wrestler on the women's roster right now. Charlotte's gone. Obviously, you have Asuka. Obviously, you have Sasha, Bayley. But I mean, she's got to be in the conversation. The way she was moving around the ring.
I think she's right there with Asuka, Sasha, Bayley for sure in terms of her in-ring ability. She's great.
And it seems like she has really good charisma that she could turn into good mic skills. We haven't really heard her cut a lot of promos, but the stuff that she's done has been funny and entertaining so far. So, yeah. And I think the one other takeaway I had from Bianca's performance is I think a lot of the difference between like a really really good wrestler and like just like a decent wrestler is the ability to tell a story when like you're kind of like wrestling the match. She did it to a T,
Yeah.
like perfectly. So I'm really excited for Bianca Belair. I'm really excited for what the future might hold for her.
It seems like she's going to start a program with Bailey now, which I'm sure will be entertaining.
But now we have to go to the bad part, and that is
The rest of the match.
well, we sat here, me and you, last week sometime, and we said, you know what? Don't rule out Lana being the sole survivor. And I think we both said it, and I think we both meant it, but we didn't really believe that they were going to do it, right? I don't think in my heart of hearts I actually believed they were going to do it, but they did.
I thought like she would win, but like Nia and Shayna would still be alive.
Yeah. The clever way to get Shayna Baszler eliminated without making her look weak was good. Also made again Bianca look great because she carried her on her back over to the ropes, you know. So that was really well done. Getting Nia Jax eliminated the way she was again keeps her looking strong. You know, it was a count out. She got flipped over the barricade. But yeah, I mean, I guess there's not really a lot we should say about this. We'll talk about Lana a little bit more later.
I'll say one thing. I think my biggest beef with this is so Peyton Royce eliminated Bailey for the first elimination, which is fine. I thought it was weird that Bailey was out immediately, but it's fine. Where was Peyton Royce on Raw the next night? She wasn't.
Yeah.
So she beat Bailey. Why did she beat Bailey? Why didn't she come out and cut a promo? Why didn't she say, I want to fight Asuka? I just beat Bailey. Like, how do you have that monumental big thing happen and treat it like it's nothing?
I can agree. I 100% agree with what you're saying.
That's storytelling. Like, she comes out and cuts a promo. I pinned Bailey last night. I want to fight Asuka. Instead, Asuka is fighting Lana. It doesn't make any sense.
Right. No, I agree with what you're saying. And I will say this to Peyton's credit. She can't obviously plan out her own segments, but she has been on social media talking about how she pinned Bailey. So at least she's keeping it alive, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything's going to happen for it. But kudos to her for being a smart talent, saying that she pinned Bailey.
I don't have her on anything, so that's good. At least
on Instagram, she a few days after she was putting up Instagram stories of her pinning Bailey. So so good for her, good for her savvy, you know. But there's not really a lot to say about this match other than Lana won it and Bianca looks amazing. So, all right, and then we'll get to the final match of the night, which was the best match of the night. And again, storytelling has played a huge role. Roman Reigns has been the absolute best wrestler on the roster since he's been back. Drew McIntyre has been the second best best wrestler on the roster since Roman's been back, and the best wrestler since WrestleMania. These two were on a collision course for each other, and it was everything it was set to be. The end was good. Well done. Kept Drew, strong, but also made Roman look strong because he did wind up choking him out, you know? Like, he wanted him, putting him to bed with that sleeper. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was a really tough spot they were put into, how someone had to win. They couldn't have, like, a screwy, like, no finish. They had to end this, like, properly, and they did it in the best possible way. Drew looked amazing in the loss, and Roman, I think, obviously looked really good too. He kind of showed a little weakness for the first time because he's going against Drew, and then Jay got involved. The ref got knocked down. It was, a lot of stuff happened, but it was still great. Drew looked great.
Yeah, definitely. Drew is phenomenal. He was absent on Raw this week, and I don't know. I just think he deserves the week off because he's been phenomenal since WrestleMania. So
there's so many guys who are like legitimately positioned for like a title shot
on Raw.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about Raw, and it is the brand split actually helped Raw out so much because they needed it, because there was a time where it was like Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, who else?
Kevin Owens sometimes.
Kevin Owens sometimes. Yeah. So they needed that brand split more than any. But yeah, so Survivor Series, really good stuff, except for, unfortunately, the Survivor Series matches. Listen, they can't all be great, and they have actually been really, really good up to this point. So We'll hope for better next year. That's the great thing about Survivor Series. It does come around once every year. Thanksgiving weekend tradition. Whether it's the weekend of Thanksgiving or the weekend before Thanksgiving is not tradition, but we'll pass that. We'll go to Raw the night after. So let's start off again with Lana and Asuka. Do you like this new formed team that clearly we haven't seen the end of this? Like, this is going to continue, right? Like, we're not done with Lana. We're not done with Asuka, Nia, Shayna. Like, none of this is over, right?
So, like, Asuka's a face, right?
Yeah.
And why is she, like, taunting Lana to fight her, knowing that she's going to murder her?
Because Nia's like the big bully. So she's pouring water on her and, like, making fun of her.
No. Why is Asuka like teasing Lana? Like, hey, let's go have a match. Like, and Lana's like, I don't want.
I thought it was.
What?
I thought it was like I thought like it was like a joke. Like
it was.
She didn't.
But she's
like,
a
Asuka
fake.
wasn't understanding. Yeah, no. But I thought it was like Asuka wasn't understanding what Lana was saying. She was like, oh, I heard you like wanted a match, and then Lana was like, no, I didn't say that. She's like, okay, I like matches. Like, let's go and have the match or something like that. Like, it was like a fun thing, like not like a. But I get where you're coming from, but I don't think it was meant like that.
I just hate everything about this whole thing. Like, there's no. They're gonna win the tag titles, like Lana and Asuka. That's gonna happen.
You think so?
Yeah, like I'm like really confident. They'll. What's her name? Asuka will like make Nia pass out, and then Lana will pin her, like just for the LOLs and the whole thing. I don't know. It's the tag titles don't matter. They're a prop. I feel like we gotta get them off of Nia and Shayna. Just kind of over it.
There's only like one person that can do it right now in the current roster.
It's Asuka. That's why.
Yeah,
it's gonna be
like
and Lana.
It was like either Sasha and Bayley, who are no longer a team, or Asuka. But yeah, I think the moral of the story here is don't say Lana's being buried because Rusev is now on AEW because she's won more matches than you have, and that's just the bottom line, That's it. She's not being buried. She's been featured in very prominent roles.
She got a chronicle.
She got a chronicle. She got her own chronicle. So bad.
They have Lacey Evans, they have Peyton Royce, they have all these girls and they're just pushing Lana. It's just so bad.
Anyway, let's move on. The Hurt Business took 2 L's on Raw, which is actually surprising because they've been pushed as like a force. Now, Keith Lee is nothing to scoff at. I don't think Bobby's, Bobby hadn't lost a match in like 2 months.
This is again the problem though, where they advertise these matches like for the first time ever, Lashley versus Keith Lee, and I bet my house when I heard it, like there's not gonna be a finish there. Like something like neither one of those guys are gonna lose, and it's the problem with their booking or how they're trying to build up multiple people at once, and then they either have a screwy finish, which they do all the time, or it's 50-50 booking where Keith Lee would have won today, and then next week Lashley would have beat him to get the win back. Like, that's what they do all the time. They gotta You gotta stop.
I mean, I would have liked a clean finish for Keith Lee, but at the end of the day, he's going forward to possibly face Drew McIntyre, which we'll talk about that in a second. And I think that I don't want to get into that match until like we're ready to talk about it, but we'll see what kind of performance he puts up in that match. But yeah, you're right. This would be a problem. I think it's more of a problem when it's like pay-per-views. If it's just happening on a Raw to try and start and engage the story, I don't mind it as much.
It's the way they hype it up for me. It's the way like the announcers say like this is a WrestleMania dream match. Like the stuff they blow up the smoke. It's their job, but like then give us a finish if it's a WrestleMania dream match. Don't have a screwy finish and be like, oh, this was great. Let's see them do it again next. Like it's like, come on.
Right. And now we've gotten that finish. Like we've seen them do the right thing when it comes to like McIntyre and Orton. Orton beat McIntyre clean, and then McIntyre beat Orton clean to take the title off of him. I know that's what you mean with like that 50-50 booking, but you could say that it really wasn't because McIntyre won the previous 2 matches. So I don't know. But the other match, there are 2 other matches that are going to lead to that triple threat match that'll be coming up on Monday, and that is it was Sheamus versus Riddle, and that match was phenomenal.
Oh yeah, that was great.
I shouldn't use that word because you know why. Anyway,
Great.
the match was excellent.
I was surprised too by the finish because I think my natural speculation was Sheamus wins this tournament and feuds with McIntyre.
I thought so too.
They've been like buddy buddy, just made a lot of sense. And the thing with Riddle is I think Riddle's great, but he's been kind of treated like a joke per se. Like not like he looks credible enough. Like he got an elimination at Survivor Series, but you don't really look at him in the same light as these other guys. He's kind of looked like he's like the weak link of the team. That's the way I viewed him. But no, like this puts him right back into the picture and like legitimizes him right with everyone else. And I think that was a great decision.
Yeah, I think that Riddle is a clear rising star in WWE right now. I mean, his promo work has been excellent. It's different. It's like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
It's very different.
It doesn't feel. I'm sure he has a script that he's going off of, but it doesn't feel scripted.
Yeah, and everything feels legitimate when he does his like whole. I guess it's like a very like a stoner act type of thing. Everything feels legitimate. Like he lives that character well. So yeah, I think Matt Riddle. Listen. If I had my pick based on the way these three men are performing, Riddle would go on to face McIntyre right now. I don't know if that's going to happen.
That sounds like an amazing match. You give Drew the win, you make Riddle look great, and it writes itself. It's perfect.
Yeah, I think it could definitely be the way they go, but we'll see. The last match on that was Randy Orton versus AJ Styles, and again, I know the booking here. But this time, I think the booking was more important to really cement that Orton-Fiend rivalry.
It's still on, yeah.
And these are two vets. We know what AJ Styles and Randy Orton are about. This was not a first time ever match, So I think again, like this is more of the this is like the booking that's fine. Like when this stuff happens, this is what I was talking about before. Because we don't need to see a finish for AJ Orton. Like we know what they're about. There's no new and up and comers beating an established vet. And it purposed two stories. AJ now goes to the triple threat match, which he will be great in. And I see you glancing at your TV. I'm very excited for what's happening over here. Thank God.
Did KO just win?
Yeah, so he won by disqualification. We'll talk about it in a second. I'll tell you what just happened. Okay. But yeah, I was glancing over at my screen too. We're gonna talk about SmackDown. That actually looks like it's gonna be really good. But yeah, what was I saying? Oh, AJ goes on to face in the triple threat match, and Randy will go against the Fiend at TLC. To me, that's going to be a really interesting match, Randy Orton versus The Fiend, because, again, they've been building Randy. They gave him that WWE title, probably just to tweak up those numbers, for the WWE Championship. I think they were flirting with the idea of maybe Edge and Orton for the WWE Championship, but I don't know what's going to happen with that match. I'm assuming that The Fiend is going to win. He's looked untouchable since getting to Raw, but he hasn't really done a lot, so...
This could be a Firefly Funhouse match.
Yeah, I mean, they should probably do that again, right?
No, I mean, there's a lot of history with Randy that they can play.
It's excellent.
They can play with for sure.
They should do exactly what they did with John. This doesn't have to be a real wrestling match. Again, we know what these two are about at this point. Like, give us something interesting that will further the story. And I guess the last thing we have to talk about is that triple threat match. Who do you see winning that triple threat match? Who do you want to win? Who do you see winning? Two different questions.
Have you seen the Braun reports?
No.
So there's conflicting Braun Strowman reports. One is like he was written off TV. He hit Adam Pearce in the head like to start off Raw last week, but and so
right.
he's like suspended or whatever. So one report says he's going to run in and interfere with this match, and he's going to fight McIntyre.
Okay.
Another report says he's hurt, which is why they wrote him off.
I actually think I did see the one that said he was hurt.
I hope he doesn't just run in here and ruin this match. What do I don't.
Just between the three competitors, yeah. We'll just keep it to that.
All three of them could win. I don't think any of them are beating Drew. Is AJ safe, you think?
That's what I'm leaning. I'm leaning AJ Styles here, but I'll tell you what. Keith Lee, Matt Riddle, AJ Styles, this is a win-win-win for the W, right? Like, this is a win-win-win for whoever we get, the match is going to be excellent.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
I think we're both leaning Riddle, right? Like that's who we want to see, right?
Yeah.
But if it's AJ Styles, I can't sit here and be angry at an AJ Styles Drew McIntyre match because it's going to be great.
Keith
And if it's
Lee,
Keith
Lee's
Lee,
not getting pinned, is what I'm.
no shot.
That's not happening. It's either AJ pinning Riddle or Riddle pinning AJ.
Or
Lee.
I don't think it's going to be Keith Lee either. I don't think it's going to be Keith Lee because I think they want to keep Keith Lee like as strong as possible. I don't think they're going to do this right now.
Whoever wins loses ultimately.
Yeah, whoever wins is going to most likely lose. I think it's AJ Styles. I think that's the right answer here. Keeps AJ looking good, and then he goes on to face Drew and doesn't win. It's fine. AJ Styles.
Do you think Drew holds the title into Mania?
I don't know, but I'm starting to think that Keith Lee. I think I've said this before. Keith Lee is definitely a Royal Rumble. He's a Royal Rumble guy. Like he's favorite. A guy. Yeah, I mean, like maybe not the favorite. I'm sure we're gonna see the Brock Lesnar and the CM Punks returning for WrestleMania favorite, things and stuff like that.
The betting odds, yeah.
But I think Keith Lee will be high among them, and I also think Matt Riddle is starting to, no pun intended, blaze his path. I don't think he'll win the Rumble. I don't think that's what they have envisioned for him. But yeah, I think either one of those guys, or any one of the guys in this match, will make a good matchup. So
I'd like to see Drew drop it at the Rumble.
I would too. But to who? That's my big question.
It could be any of these guys, and like it's believable.
I think it could be Sheamus too. I know that's not like the preferred WrestleMania.
Yeah, no.
But I'm just saying, like, that could be an option for them,
Yeah.
We'll see. The Royal Rumble is a long way off. Like, it is a legitimate 2 months away because it's usually late in January. So we have a TLC pay-per-view that will most likely be coming up in mid-December. I don't actually know what the date is. They haven't made any matches for it yet. And then we will have a very long time between TLC and the Royal Rumble, in which we'll have Christmas and all of the holidays and the new year. It'll be 2021, excuse me. I just skipped a year.
Skip a year.
Jeez, I'm really having trouble counting today. All right, but let's head over to SmackDown. Do we want to save Roman stuff for the end? Let's save Roman stuff
for the end. I want to start with Seth. Seth's off now. He's off with Becky. He got written off at Survivor Series. You think they hold him out until the Rumble?
I think that there's no reason to bring him back before the Rumble.
It's a surprise entrance.
Or, if we know he's in the mix, like, it's not like a huge deal, especially because he's not babyface right now. I feel like heels returning are not a huge deal, although maybe the pop. Okay, there's no pop, right? We're assuming the Royal Rumble won't be held in front of a live crowd, although we don't know yet what the plans
are. It might be like limited people.
I was about to say like a big baseball stadium, 20% capacity. Again, the NFL and the NFL, MLB have the two biggest stadiums in terms of American National League sports. They have both put fans in the stadium. I think it's unrealistic to ask a company that's been working through all of this to really shame them for putting people in the audience at this point.
Yeah.
It's just what's been happening, and ultimately they're a company. They have to make money. They have to worry about making money. Fans in the stands means that there's going to be money. So also, I think it does a lot for their product for viewership too. When you have real fans there yelling, the virtual, they've done a really good job with the Thunderdome and the fans in the background, but it's not as good as real fans being there. Yep. So we'll see what the Royal Rumble holds. I think we'll probably get that announcement sooner than later if they plan on doing it I know that they are planning on doing it to one of the baseball stadiums, which is Tropicana, right?
The Trop, yeah, they're on the Trop.
Yeah. So that's Tampa Bay's baseball stadium. That's the home of the Rays. So listen, Florida's, you can go and watch the Dolphins at 100% capacity right now if you want to. So I think it's realistically we could be looking at a capacity crowd,
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. But okay, so you think Seth Rollins out until Royal Rumble as well?
I think Seth is a legitimate candidate to win the Rumble and fight Roman at WrestleMania.
It would have to be
a
very convincing babyface turn. I think the reason why I might disagree with that is because I think that his last babyface run has them a little iffy on whether or not he could be a true babyface. If if there are fans, and I know this is like a big if, but like, and they start booing him again, like right at the turn of there being fans back, that would be, I guess, not a bad look, but like just not what they want at all. So it'll be interesting to see who will challenge Roman and if that person will have won the Royal Rumble. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But let's start off with the Mysterios and the newest Mysterio, Buddy Murphy Mysterio. Is this when these guys come on? Is there any interest from you whatsoever at this point?
I can't believe it's still happening. Like we lost. All we do is lose Seth. The story's still going on. Just Seth.
Well, but now they're all together, so they're not fighting each other.
Yeah, but they're gonna. This can't last. Like eventually, Buddy's gonna say something that's gonna get Ray upset, or like Dominic will like stand up. Like I don't care. I don't want this.
You think so? You think that's where this is all going to pay off?
I mean, the four of them can't just walk around hunky dory for the rest of the time. Like something's gonna happen.
I thought maybe this would lead to a Buddy Dom tag team, which I would hate, by the way. I think
Ray and Dom. I think the money is with Ray and Dom winning the tag titles.
Yeah, I mean, and if you gave me that over the Profits, I would be angry at that too, right? So
doesn't have to be now.
I get it though. It's like at one point in time they're going to lose those titles. They've had them since before WrestleMania. So at one point in time they are going to lose titles, and there needs to be legitimate tag teams. Yeah, I guess I could see it. I don't know where this is going. I don't know where the payoff is going. It's all in the family. I don't know. I don't know. It's a weird thing. I guess we're just gonna have to wait for it to play out.
That's all we can do. Wait for it to play out.
You sound very happy about that. Okay, I won't make you talk about this anymore. Let's go back to the Street Profits right now. The Street Profits, when they cut their promos, they end it by saying the Street Profits are up, and I think that's a perfect description of what the Street Profits are right now. They are all the way up. Like we talked about it briefly. They beat the New Day. They've held these titles for so long. I think they put on their best wrestling match as a tag team on the main roster against obviously their best opponent. What is left for them? Is it now time for them to drop it, or do you just keep it on them, keep the good times rolling?
You gotta wait until there's someone worth dropping it for. It's not Rude and Ziggler. That's not.
I agree. I 100% agree with that.
So, I mean,
if the Usos are healthy, and that's like you know what I mean, like if Roman gets the Usos healthy, enter the tag team division in a month or two, then for storyline purposes, it'll be time, and then the Profits could maybe take them back eventually. You know, they could put on a really, really good, compelling story that could last months and not get stale.
If the Profits are a real threat for sure,
are teaming with the person that's facing Roman all the time, like it could be really, really good. But I agree, don't just give these titles to Bobby and Roode just to give them to Bobby. Roode.
Besides Usos, it's like maybe Undisputed Era. Like who else should they take it from? Like
and that's the issue. We're already going to NXT tag teams. You know what I mean? Like
they're so weak. The division is so weak. Yeah.
They need tag teams.
They're probably gonna have like Otis and Gable challenge, but that's not gonna be good. I don't know.
I know that Cesaro and Nakamura were a tag team for a while, but that never works out. Cesaro's such a good tag team guy, and it just didn't work with Nakamura. Like Cesaro and Sheamus were legitimately a good tag team. You know what I mean? Like that was a good tag team that you enjoyed watching. They put on great matches with the New Day, great matches with Usos. Have you noticed a trend whenever we talk about tag teams? It always starts and ends with the New Day. I'm hoping the Street Profits sort of break that trend where at least now we're talking about them too, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think we both agree. Just keep it on them until something worthy comes up for them to lose it.
I would say right now, if I had to guess, it's Ray and Dom at WrestleMania.
At WrestleMania, that would be cool, like father-son thing. I guess, yeah, that would be cool. There'd probably be a multi-team match too. One of those like 8 or 4 tag teams.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's like a 4-way match, but we don't have to get into that. Sami Zayn, another guy, had the title for a while. unlike the Street Profits, though, there are plenty of people on SmackDown that could take that title off of him. Both experienced veterans like Daniel Bryan, which we saw today, up and comers. You mentioned Chad Gable. I don't really know if there's a plan for him. I don't really expect him to, but I mean, it's a guy that we'd love to see in that spot. And then there are guys like, I'm going to keep saying the name because we don't know, Otis. There's guys like King Corbin,
Big E,
Big E. Yeah,
Lars,
so there are so
many guys.
Back at Lars Sullivan. So what do you foresee for Sammy's future?
He's a time bomb. Like, just waiting to, like, someone's gonna take it off. And like, his whole gimmick is that he's finding like new creative ways to not lose. And like, it's funny, it works. Like he's really good at what he does, but it's just a matter of time until they have to like give it to legitimize a Big E or legitimize one of these guys who cut these backstage promos with him every week, but lose to him ultimately. Like, someone has to take it. I would say they never really make like crazy changes like before, like this time of year. Like, I feel like it's usually status quo for the most part going into like the Rumble and stuff.
And then at the Rumble is like the time where things
are big one. I can definitely see him being like the lone title drop at TLC, the next pay-per-view. Like,
because we're not expecting a lot of title changes at TLC, right?
No, I think for
you mentioned the women's tag team championships, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, other than that, what were you going to say?
Sasha's holding it to the Rumble. Drew's holding it to the Rumble. Roman's holding it to the Rumble, and far past that. So and Lashley's holding to the Rumble too. So that leaves Sammy and the girl tag teams, and I don't think the Street Profits are dropping it either. So
the New Day are one where I could maybe see the Hurt Business taking TLC, but I mean, I'm not even convinced yet that Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander are the right ones to take that title. So
I don't think so either, but they're definitely they have a chance.
Yeah, I wish it was MVP. Is that weird? I wish it was MVP. And because Shelton's the better wrestler, like I'm not like at their current ages, like Shelton's obviously in better shape. He's a better wrestler, but MVP's like the leader, the mentor. You know, I almost wish it was him. But
okay, well, I think there's more value in him on the sidelines. But
that's true. That he's like a manager. I don't know, but yeah, interesting. Sami Zayn, great wrestler. Whatever match he goes in, seems to always deliver, no matter who he's facing. So we'll see. Apollo Crews is another guy that we didn't mention. I don't know if his time in the sun is done.
I don't care.
He had a good U.S. title reign. Yeah,
that's the problem. Like,
yeah,
I don't care anymore.
Yeah,
Aleister Black's not there. It's whatever. Continue.
Aleister Black. I read things are looking bleak for Aleister Black. So
as expected.
Yeah. All right. Bianca Belair. This is the only person I want to talk about because she literally blew me away at Survivor Series. But again, another great win against Natty. She also punched Bayley in the process. Usually the person that punches the person always winds up losing via like distraction or gets hit over the head with like a chair or something. No, she punched Bayley in the face and then pinned Natalya in the ring. Bayley's not one that I think would take like a lot of consecutive L's, but I don't see her like winning. You know what I mean? Like I think there's going to be a really good feud that ultimately Bianca kind of has to come out on top for.
Yeah, for sure. Bayley does not need to win this at all. This is a really nice rub for Bianca to go over Bayley in her first like official feud on the main roster. It makes all the sense in the world. They'll have a great feud. I hope it's not a 50-50 thing where like Bianca wins, Bayley wins, and then Bianca like I don't think this needs that. I hope they have like one or two matches where Bianca just wins them both.
Well, these two seem like a lock to play big roles in the Royal Rumble. And again, I'm sorry, folks at home, you were going to hear us referencing the Royal Rumble from now until January a bunch because, listen, there is no reason Bianca Belair can't win the Royal Rumble. There's no reason Bayley can't win the Royal Rumble. I don't think Bayley should after the 365 title reign. Maybe we should just let that cool off for a few months. But I don't see a reason why she couldn't, you know? I don't see a reason why he can't just be like, she's great. Yeah. And, you know, when you keep winning in the WWE, look at all the greats, you know, they won. That's what it, you know, they keep winning.
I think the driving argument for Bayley to win would be, I feel like her and Sasha aren't done, even though they are done at the moment.
Story.
They still need to end that. And also, you know, they do these things like how they like pad title reigns and stuff. Like Bayley had like the best year like ever besides Becky, like this last previous year. And it looks a lot better if she had like the Rumble. I think that's why Charlotte won last year, like to say she won a Rumble type of thing.
Right.
because they made
Yeah,
no
no,
sense
I could
from
definitely
last year.
see. That's why I'm saying, like, I would argue against it, but I could absolutely see Bailey winning the Royal Rumble. Like we've talked about Bianca being in that league. We talk about Charlotte returning, possibly at the Royal Rumble. So there's a lot going, you know, for the Royal Rumble, for the women's Royal Rumble. And I think again that they are going to put on a show. That could be that could be they you know they kind of take turns main eventing, right?
Yeah.
That could be the main event this year if they want to give it a big enough pop. So we'll see what happens with that. But these are some talents to keep an eye on for sure. Do you have any interest in this Carmella Sasha feud?
Not really. I mean,
I feel like Sasha's just going to win, right?
yeah, she kind of has to. So what's the point of like repackaging Carmella just to lose?
It was a really weird place to start.
I don't
right?
know.
Really weird place to start for Carmella.
I like Carmella, so like
I do too. I'm not saying I dislike her. I'm just saying that this was a strange start because we both. I mean, like I know I think that Sasha's just going to retain.
yeah.
So it's just weird to like you said, repackage her and then bring her back just to lose to Sasha.
I guess like it's tough this time of year because you need to have feuds, but also like what are they gonna do? Have like Sasha fight Natalia? No one's gonna like that. Like they got to put someone in there where you at least have some intrigue and think someone has a chance to beat her, even though we know it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, I guess again, there's not really a lot to say on this. Sasha was Sasha even there today?
She yeah, Carmella cut a promo and then like she like wanted someone to hand her drink and then Sasha handed her a drink with a legit boss thing. Like so she saw it there and then she went nuts and she beat her up.
Okay,
So Sasha kind of got one back.
Okay, so it was Sasha finally getting hers. Okay, good stuff. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch that. But let's get on to the best storyline of the night, and it's been the best storyline of the night. Roman bullying Jey Uso bullying the rest of the SmackDown roster, and finally, for the first time, someone stepped up to Roman Reigns, and it was Kevin Owens. Now, I'll just explain to you what happened really quickly, and for everybody listening, just in case you might have missed it. What happened was, earlier in the show, Sami Zayn ran out the ring. He was fighting Daniel Bryan. Okay, you know what? Actually, we should start from the beginning, right? Jey Uso gets yelled at by Roman Reigns, says, they don't fear you. That means they don't fear me. Make them respect you, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff that he's been spewing, right? Otis comes out for his match against King Corbin. He comes down the ramp. He does his, like, jig with his belly and everything. And Jey Uso relentlessly beats him with the chair. Like, relentlessly. Flash forward, match between Sami Zayn, Daniel Bryan, great match. Sami Zayn runs out the ring. The ref starts to count. Daniel Bryan goes to find him to put him back in the ring. He can't win the championship if Sami's not in the ring. He goes to the back. Sami is the only one that comes forward. We go, what happened? Sami wins the match. We flash to the back. Jey Uso beating on Daniel Bryan. But in comes a livid KO. He knocks him off. Jey tries to go back. KO knocks him off again. The refs come. They go to commercial break. Kevin Owens says, I'm going to go and find him. They come back from commercial break, and it's Jey Uso, Roman Reigns, Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens basically says in so many words, you're rooting SmackDown, Roman, and I don't care about your family, and it's just bugging everyone on SmackDown. Jey Uso, Kevin Owens, main event. Jey Uso smacks Kevin Owens with a chair, gets himself disqualified. KO gets the win, right? But KO is able to somehow reverse. This is the one thing that I missed, to where he was smacking Jey Uso with the chair, looks furiously at the camera after Jey is beaten, and then goes back to beat Jey, like Jey has gone back to beat up all of the other people that he has. So, I mean, Kevin Owens had a great night tonight.
Yeah, no. And I kept saying this, I'm sure you did too. Like, we got to make him matter. Kevin Owens is so good and he's so cool. He's so likable. We love Kevin Owens. And he goes out there on Survivor Series and loses immediately. He gets some spots in, he gets the stunners in, but ultimately does nothing. And I feel like he's been treading water for like literally years now, where ever since like him and Jericho are holding like the Universal title together, like what has he done since then?
Mm-hmm.
And he hasn't really been.
I agree.
He's been here. He's just not doing anything.
Yeah. We see a furious version of Kevin Owens the last And honestly, if this is the kind of booking that we needed to book the SmackDown team to be so weak to get this kind of booking out of SmackDown, then I'll take the L on the Survivor Series match for the year for this, because this looks like now we got Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns. You know Daniel Bryan's not done with Jey Uso. You've got Sami Zayn running around in this mix. You know, Otis is somewhere in this mix. You know, there's a lot of moving pieces going on. And I think that when you can have a storyline with all the moving pieces like this, and they're good moving pieces too, guys like Daniel Bryan, guys like Kevin Owens, guys like Roman Reigns, that makes for the best storytelling. That's always the best storytelling they do. And now I'm sure we're going to see Kevin Owens and Daniel Bryan teaming up to take on Roman and Jey Uso. And listen, I don't expect Kevin Owens to win this feud, but I do expect him to look very, very good. Like, push Roman to his brink like McIntyre.
That's all we can ask. We know Roman's holding the belt, but help legitimize Kevin Owens again. Make him a credible threat to Roman. Like, I didn't hear anything. I have to go back and watch it, but just the way he was like looking into the camera and like talking, like the presentation of Kevin Owens, like that's a guy. That's like a main event guy. He is so good. And
I almost wish, because like we were both getting distracted looking at the screen, because I want to see it. I got to go back and rewind and watch that now. I don't know if he cut a promo. I thought I saw Mike Kingspan, and I don't know if he cut a promo. But
it looked like he was talking at Roman. Looked like he was talking directly at Roman.
Yeah. So one of the things you see, right? So Jay gets disqualified, right? He beats up Kevin Owens for a good minute. The camera pans. You see Roman with this like approval look on his face, right?
Yeah.
And Paul Heyman with like this evil smile on in the back, right? Yeah. And then they pan back after the tides have turned and Kevin Owens is beating up on him, and Roman is furious. Like, he looks furious, and Paul Heyman looks worried, like only Paul Heyman can. But yeah, no, this is the Kevin Owens that we have been waiting for. This will be the best part of WWE. I'll say it right now. There's a lot of good stuff going on in WWE. I feel like they've been on the uptick since SummerSlam, and it's slowly gotten better and better and better. This will be the best thing going from now until the Royal Rumble. It'll be Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns and possibly some Daniel Bryan, definitely some Jey Uso sprinkled in there. You know, that'll be the best thing going.
Okay, no, that's
from now until the Rumble.
It's definitely a lead candidate for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, is there anything else on there? Like, is there any other?
I think we covered a lot. I have to go back and watch that SmackDown ending. Yeah. But besides that,
yeah. So I mean, I guess that's pretty much it for us. Like I said, we're gonna have TLC coming up in a few weeks, but I'm pretty sure it's TLC. I keep saying TLC, but I'm not sure it's TLC. I'm like 90% sure, but not 100% sure. So let's hope it's TLC, because I've been wrong about pay-per-views like this week.
I hope you're right.
Yeah, I hope I'm right too. Anyway, I guess that's gonna do it for us, right? Unless there's anything else you wanna.
No, I'm all good. Like you said, possibly TLC. Something's coming up soon, and we'll keep you posted on that front.
Yeah, we should be back sometime next week. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you really enjoyed, like, subscribe, and like I said, happy Thanksgiving, or just happy great day to all of you.